Looks like I'm finally live, and hopefully this will be a decent stream. I have been attempting to have a stream going for quite a while now tonight, but I didn't give up. I just had to switch to a more rudimentary form of technology, which I guess is fine. It all works, right? So I figured that tonight, with the full moon and everything, and with tensions being as high as they are, that it would be nice to facilitate a space. Pardon me. Nice to facilitate a space where we could talk really just about how we're being affected, and also how we're going to approach this time with, I guess, in alignment with the energies that are currently going. And my cat will no doubt come into the mix tonight, as he's very upset that I am not feeding him again. So, how is everyone tonight? Hello, Soph. I'm wondering if he's going to come around the corner. Hello, is that you, Peng Su? Thank you for being here. Seth, welcome. Glad to see you here. All of the usual gang that shows up for my lives is here so far. Thank you, I'm so glad. I tried to get some rest today, but it didn't really happen. Rest is hard to come by right now, isn't it? And with these, with the Sagittarius moon energy too, it kind of adds a sense of needing to go and get things done as well. So it can really make the energy very like frantic, I would say, and kind of moving all over the place. So if you're feeling a bit scattered, like, it would be in keeping with what can kind of come up at this time. So, how is everybody doing? For real, for real. How are you feeling? What are you thinking about? What are you wanting, I guess, at this time to release into the open? Get off of your chest, unburden yourself with, because that's what we do in the full moon. We unburden ourselves. We shed things. But also, shedding things doesn't have to just be that we are letting go so much as that we are sharing our burdens with others so they become lighter. So that's something to think about in this time. What burdens are you carrying that could be shared? Hey, little man, come here. As I was saying, what burdens? And no, my cat is not a burden, but he is a pain in the butt, like cats are. And we have very different ideas about what and when things are to take place lately. I think for both of us too, our sleeping and our rest schedules have been kind of disrupted by everything going on. So it's no surprise, I guess, that he's so unsettled, and also probably wanting to eat more. Thank you, Soph, for, I don't know if anyone else said anything now. Thank you, Soph, for opening up the process of unburdening right now. I, too, have been thinking about Breonna Taylor. It's just, I want to say it's shocking, right? But given how often we've seen police kill Black women, it's not shocking. And the kind of extreme circumstances that, I don't want to say extreme circumstances, but these just mysterious, like, how the fuck did this happen? And just the shock of it too, given, you know, just reading about her and her life, it just seemed like she was such a really awesome person. And it really sucks that she's gone, because, you know, people just are not replaceable. And it just sucks. It really sucks. So let's, you know what? Why don't we light a candle for her? Yeah. Man, so if you are unburdening tonight, thank you. Thank you for bringing up these things. Because I'm like, I don't know. Personally, I didn't want to broach them because it's like so many things are going on right now. It's hard to know where to begin. And it's, yeah, let's light some candles for her spirit. Yeah, 27 is young. It's damn young. God damn, what the hell? All right, I'm gonna grab a candle, y'all. Stay tuned, amuse yourselves, and I'll be right back. Hey, baby. Do you cry a lot? Yeah. Do you have much to be sorrowful for? Yes. Wow. Come on, baby. Yeah, I know. Alright, we might get to see Nero tonight. That would be nice. I know I have a lighter over here. Ah, yes. Because my bookshelf is not just a bookshelf, it's a place where I put shit. Maybe one day I will have a proper place for everything. So yeah, this flame is having a little bit of trouble kicking off. I wonder if that's significant. It may be that there's a lot of air, and so I think maybe let's just observe a moment of silence. I think. I'll put the light up there. That's nice in the background. One thing that I thought of as I was just kind of being quiet, apart from the sound of the fucking helicopters that have been going for days, very late into the evening, and as you can imagine, it has been quite disruptive to my sleep, which has left me rather agitated. And I think, of course, apart from anything else, the kind of tactics of fear employed by the state via the police here have been assaultive on everyone. No one's like, well, I don't want to say no one's untouched. There's some people untouched by this, but really most of us have been profoundly shaken by it. And I have found myself jumping at noises a lot more because of the kind of noises I've been exposed to recently, just in terms of my own neighborhood and what's happening. It's been quite alarming. Hearing people scream, hearing things being shot off, and it's such a loud, explosive sound when it goes off that it's quite disturbing. So, kind of went off on a tangent there. Let's go back. What I was kind of thinking about is how upside down the world is. And it seems to me that we have everything so backwards in terms of what is valued, in terms of who is valued, in terms of how we handle one another, in terms of who has, in terms of who has what and how it's used as well. And I just thought of like, how senseless and how tragic things are and have been for a very long time. It's never made sense to me as a person. It's never made sense to me how we do things. It's always been like, okay, this is the most fucking like convoluted way to meet our needs as a species, but we're gonna do it, okay. And then I want to be at peace as well, because I understand that, like, I guess I should talk about what this is leading me to talk about is the relationship between the sign that the moon is under, which is Sagittarius, and the sign that the sun is under currently, which is Gemini. Now, these polarities represent themes of travel and intellectualism and of different ways of interpreting data. Gemini would represent the more scientific method, whereas Sagittarius is the philosophical method, the philosopher's method. And these different ways of interpreting data lead people to take on very different approaches to life. And so in this time, we're supposed to reconcile those relationships between data, between method, and between understanding how we think and why we think the way that we do. especially about like these complex social issues of injustice and of senseless violence and of power, really, at the end of the day. How do we reconcile? Also, I think we also have to reconcile how divided this nation has become and what role we have played or have not played in facilitating the intense polarity of the world right now. I definitely have to say I have my own responsibility to play in that. I definitely have made the world a more polarized place through most of the work I've done. And that isn't always bad. I had my reasons for doing that work and for existing in that way. You know, life, lived thought experiments are very important in terms of like having the wisdom and not just the knowledge. So yeah, it's a challenging, unsettling time. And we are being called to really look at what we think, why we think it, because it matters in terms of what we do at this time. I want to get back to what Soph was saying, and I'm going to check here. Let me check the chat. Regarding the way in which these protests have been used as a justification for a police state being enacted on us through the we've had our movement restricted, let's be honest here, for months. All right, that's what's been going on. Now, whether that is because of this virus or if this virus has been utilized to facilitate enacting this kind of repression, I'm not sure. But I also have no doubt that a lot of these protests have really kicked off because I think a lot of people have been really sitting at home getting pent up. And this bubble has been building for a long time. And when anybody who's ever blown like bubbles, right, knows that you can only blow so much air. You know, you can only take in so much of that air, that data, right, before it explodes. And I think we've had to bear witness to so many extreme cases of racist police murder. It just doesn't stop, you know, like every fucking year, like name after name, face after face of Black Americans being killed by cops. And it's like this was gonna happen because also nothing has been done really to change anything like regarding this. I don't want to say nothing has been done because I know that there are people who have been trying for many years and doing work, you know, here and there and like really trying to come up with helping these situations. But it's just, you know, been allowed to go on for so long. The other thing about this that we have to acknowledge as well is how many, you know, I want to address some of the ways in which this issue helps polarize the population as well, all right? Because many people of like various races in the US are killed by police. And it's consistently, those stories are consistently underreported as well, because I think if most average white people realized how possible it is that in a police interaction, you know, they could potentially be killed, they would be a lot less, you know, a lot less interested in defending this encroaching police militarization. And I also want to say, like, at this time, and I also don't want to get too political with this because I do want to keep the vibe kind of high. I have been really disturbed to see the whitewashing of like the Bush legacy, because after 9/11 happened, that was when we saw the beginnings of this militarization of the police. And it's been building for a long time. And let me tell you, it's been very obvious that a lot of them are having a fucking ball right now. Because they get to bring out all their fucking toys and, like, you know, be the fucking bodyguards of Capitol in the state right now. I mean, so it's all very, very, very frustrating, you know, how I think this is like kind of the problem with accelerationism as well. It's like we are at a point where people are like seeing George W. Bush as like a good president or some shit because he had manners and how he dealt with his like fellow, you know, class colleagues. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck to do. But I think this is also a time where, again, this full moon, right? Good idea to unplug from the Matrix, unplug from Babylon, you know, unplug from all of the things that are looking to exploit you in this time when you are fearful, when you are angry, and when your charge is high. That's when you can get pushed by others who have their own agendas more than any other. So it's very important right now, too, that you establish your sovereignty, all right? You have sovereignty over your own mind and your own choices. That is our divine right. And so in this time, I would like you to claim it. And do so by taking some time and space to let go of what you should be doing, what others think you should be doing. Because, okay, let's just talk. There's been a ton of like social media campaigns that I've seen right now. I have been hardened to see people looking to share Black businesses to support, you know, which is very good. But I also think it's important to think about ways of supporting Black people that aren't just about business, because right now people need more than like majority of people don't own businesses, okay, of any race. So supporting business is, again, still supporting a small minority of people. And it's very clear that we need to look at how to get resources to the people who need them the most. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot too about how I show up in the world and thinking about my own just issues with like, I guess, baggage I've carried from times when I've not been like, I want to say conscious in my dealings with Black people, but also like people of color generally. So this has been a time of me kind of like looking at that and thinking about like, what did I learn? What am I learning? And also, what can I do that is like meaningful? I think people really need to think about that right now, because the country and many nations as well right now have been brought to a standstill. And this is a time when we can start building because of that. Like, there's space for it. And I just so much want that all of this energy and enthusiasm I see to like do something about all of these problems that have been building in the nation for so long and in the world. I just don't want to see it wasted and pissed away. You know, it's very easy, and I've met so many people over the years who are like very much like, tear it all down, burn it down, and I'm like, that's been kind of irritating to me as well, because it's so unnecessary too, you know? Why can't we take over these resources and utilize them for the good of all? Like, why do people want to destroy when we could just build on what humans have built with their labor power over the centuries, over millennia? Why do people want to like tear shit down when we could build? I don't know. So I want people to think expansively, you know? You're letting go of things. You're unburdening your heart. You're unburdening yourself. The strawberry moon, too. You're tasting the first sweet fruits. They're so rich. You know? I think I'll stop with my rambling there. Why don't I play with my tarot cards? That'll be fun. I do want to respond to some of the comments, though. I saw some people were talking. I don't want to be rude. Okay, so let's see. Oh, Seth. Goodbye, Seth. I'm sorry I missed you. Yeah, I'm glad you resonated with what I was saying about things not making sense. So, hello, audit everywhere. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't really pay attention to that stuff. I find it all very, like, beside the point, but I'm all about the protests. I love every minute of it. I just don't condone the violence. Well, I don't know. Were protesters being violent? Oh, wonderful. A ceremonial fire. So you have the fires lit too. Good. Hi, split seconds. Yeah, they are interesting times. We were probably meant to be here for them. I'm glad you like the readings. Well, I mean, okay. Just as somebody who has been like having to deal with the aftermath of all of the window smashing and like spray painting and that kind of thing, that shit sucks to a certain degree. And definitely I've seen a lot of like questionable like targets in terms of, you know, should this business have been targeted? I don't know that business really should be targeted though. You know, that's the thing. It's just like you're basically making it so that, hi Shannon, you're basically making it so that the only businesses that can afford to stay open are corporations. So you're like just further entrenching the corporate system, you know, in terms of like destroying their property. So that's kind of distressing. And it's also just like, you know, it's, to me, it's impotent rage, but it's not relevant in terms of like actual violence. You know, people have been like actually killed, and a window can be like replaced. You know, you can repaint a fucking wall, but you can't, once that person's gone, they're gone. And I definitely think that, you know, when we talk about violence, I don't know, I just don't see it the same way. But I never agreed with the law getting passed that corporations were people. I never agreed with that happening. So, and I never really saw property as the same as a person, you know? While it sucks to have your property interfered with, your person is a lot, that to me is violence, I guess. Though I don't know, if someone came into my apartment, I guess, and like fucked it up, I'd probably feel like it was an act of violence. But still, it's a little bit different. Right. Ooh, getting conspiratorial. Very good. Well, I'll just show you this card first. So I got the 5 of Wands, which is like serious know your enemies vibes. Also, what are you fighting for? Also, what do you stand for? What are you fighting for? What do you stand for? Who are your enemies? Ah, okay. We'll take that one. We'll take... Yeah, I think we'll take those as well. We got the King of Coins. Pull it back a little bit to get a little more light. King of Coins. This is about long-term planning. Having a fucking plan, having a goal in mind, and like exercising the steps it takes to achieve that goal. Small or large. We have to have collective goals. Don't we? What are our collective goals? What do people want? What are you for? It's the same message. We can be angry and waste all of our energy fighting what we don't like. But what do we want? What can we go in the direction of? That's what needs to be happening. What kind of world do we want? What does justice look like? What is recompense? What will make it so all of this is not in vain? What could be achieved? Are you solid too? I want to say that here. There's a big message with these two cards about, I mentioned personal sovereignty before, but this is like bringing that message back. Personal sovereignty. How do you walk in it when you do your work? Whatever the work is. And also, where do you fit best? What can you do? What can you do that others can't do? And maybe not what others can't do, but like okay, I just got the message, first do no harm. Hi. Oh, fake. First do no harm. How can you have a sustainable impact? Something to be considering here. You know, I've wondered many times to myself if all of this lockdown has just been an attempt to spare the environment, the savaging that we've been doing to it for decades, for centuries, really. I've wondered about that. Baby, come on. I remember last year reading some article where Prince Charles addressed some fucking people. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but he said that there were like 18 months to do something about climate change. And so I wonder if like this total like shutdown of the economy has been an attempt to facilitate that. I don't know. It definitely has done wonders for destabilizing the population. Okay. Little dude, if you're not going to come over here. Okay. So, back to the King of Pentacles message. Hey, why don't you come here? Yeah, get up here. Get up here, baby. Yeah. You're crying a lot. You're crying a lot. There's no need to cry. There's no need to cry. What do you think about this King of Pentacles, this King of Coins? You have to be a rock. Oh, Ponderous Pug, hi. You have to be a rock unto yourself. Do you hear him? Yeah? They hear you. They hear you. They hear the purr. Yeah, they hear the purr. Ooh, a polydactyl cat. How fun. I've never had one of those. I always seem to come across these, funny little black cats that are in a bad way and end up adopting them. That's right, baby. Right, baby. Are you my baby? Yeah. So, yeah. I love this cat, though. He's just so wild, He's like, I don't know. He's aggressive. He's pushy. He's dramatic. And he's taught me so much about myself. Okay. Yes, you've been the center of attention. You want to get on the table? You want to get on the table? Get on the table? No, you don't? Okay, well, that's fair. I'm going to set you down now, dude. No. No, I don't want to get chewed on particularly. Sorry. Okay. Now that we've had the little cat intermission, we'll see. Now he's probably going to try to attack me. We have the King of Pentacles. I want to say this is about being a rock unto yourself. What is the rock? Where is your rock? Where is your center? Where is your core, Where is your root chakra? Whatever, where are you grounded? He seems sweet. You have no idea. He's a fucking, no. He is not sweet. He's fake. He's sweet at times, especially when he knows it's feeding time, but he's not sweet. It's not. No. My cat is not sweet. He's a little, he hunts me, okay? Seriously. He's very rough at times. But then again, he is the best kitty. But yeah, when he does cuddle, though, it's intense, It's the best. Okay, let's stop gushing about my cat, shall we? We all fake it for the camera a little bit. That's the modern age, right? So, what is your rock? What's solid about you? What is unshakable within you? What withstands criticism? What withstands strife? Yeah. What withstands the test of time in you? And what withstands battle in you? That is your rock. That is your center. That is what you have to build on. What we all have to build on. My sense of humor. Fuck yeah. That is a great thing to say, and it's a very Sagittarian thing to say. Sag moon, right? Let's talk about that. This is the energy of we're in the shit, but we're still willing to help other people. Okay? Sagittarian moon is going through something. You know how they deal with it? By helping somebody else. That's this time, isn't it? We're all being affected, but we can all still do something for someone else. Whatever that is. Maybe it's just you can be kind and considerate and appreciate others. But it all counts. You know what I mean? Your creativity. Hell yeah. You can't manage all of this. We can't manage survival as women without creativity. It isn't possible. Not if you want any independence. If you want to be independent, you need to be creative. It's the only way. You have to think creatively. Because we all know they're coming for you. There's all these things that can grab you. But okay, so your rock is your creativity. We have humor. We have creativity. I think I'm thinking about it for me. I think there are a few things in me that are like solid. And I think that I'm finding like underneath the layers of myself and the masks that I wear, I have a lot of compassion. So, my ability to recognize and understand the grief that we often feel, that has not changed in my life. No matter what circumstance and wind has blown, you know, I've been able to feel for others and to look at things with more than just my own perspective because of it. So that's going to be, yeah, okay. I just had a remembrance of a dream I had this past week where I was leading a group of young women into a graveyard. And I had us digging through the graveyard for stones. Okay? And I see now here this is what we're doing as well. What are the stones of the past that you're going to use as the building blocks stepping forward? What did you learn in the past that is like, I want to continue doing this reading, but there's so much that's coming off that is just, oh, I don't know. It's just, the cards are inspiring it, but it's definitely, it's been a time of a lot of like psychic dreaming for me. I'm looking for the Tower card because I was just reminded of it. I saw it in my head. So we're in a tower moment. Collective tower. And I want the visual to kind of explain what I'm talking about. Do you know where the Tower card is, Nero? Come on. Dang, it's down in there. Okay. Dang. There we go. The Tower. Almost to the bottom. Pull it back. We have the Tower struck by lightning. And we have the individuals being scattered. And as things and people are scattered out of the Tower, the stones fall. The next tower is going to be built utilizing the best stone of the last one. if you want to build a tower, right? You want to build a fortress for yourself and others, a place of defense and also offense. All right, think of the tower as that. Now the concept of that archetypically in the world today has been shattered. All right, we do not feel safe. We do not feel protected. All right, collectively speaking, we are in fear because we have seen how easy it was for things to deteriorate to this point, right? We've seen, and now reality is being exposed and things are crumbling rapidly. The world that we've known, right? So, right in this time, as these shifts are happening for us and as we are uncertain, we have to build. And that's just the message here. Build. We have to build. We have to build. We have to create. I've been saying it for years, but we have to create. That is the only way to change anything. We cannot create by throwing out the past. The past is so relevant because we have to see that all of this has been, everything that we've experienced collectively and individually has led us and been leading us to the point in time now that we're at, individually and collectively. It all is relevant. It's the prologue. It's the story leading up to the story, all right? Now we're being asked to be who we really are, okay? That's really fucking scary. And I don't really know what to do with it myself because there's so many different iterations of myself. It's like, I don't know that I can be myself in every circumstance. There's so many of myself. But how can I be authentic to the rock in me, that rock, the things that are not shakable? Be authentic to those things in you. And maybe that's your cat, for example. Okay. Let's move on from this message here a little bit. I want to talk about the other cards that came out. Reverence for the past ensures the future. Yes, it does. And also, when we don't learn lessons of the past, we repeat them. Individually and collectively. As above, so below. As within, so without. Okay? I want you to look at the reality around you and look at yourself and see how they match. This could not have been manifested outside of us, okay? We are the way we think, and thus the actions we take are how reality is manifest. So what in us needs to change? As we build upon the rock of ourself and what we are really about and what we're really here for, right? As we build on that rock, what are the sturdiest lessons that you've learned from your life and also in this time? That leads us into the next card, which is the Hermit. L'Ermite. The Hermit. This is about knowing yourself. Okay? And I want to say this too, so strongly. If you don't know who you are, you will cause damage to others. People who don't know who they are always harm those who do know who they are. So you want to do work for others? Okay. But it starts with, who are you? What do you have to give to others? What is the most sensible thing for you to give to? Because this is all about, wrong card. This is all about sensibility, right? All about doing what is practical, sensible, what is fair, and also what is, well, it's like this energy is like putting a puzzle together, okay? We all fit in somewhere, but how do we fit in where we're at? What is it about you in this time where you're at, right, that is set to do and be this thing? I am going to read the chat slightly. I like how I like how Audit said something about the Tower being the last card. Problem with one of my past lives, something is unresolved. Yes. And what was it, your local gay guy or something like that said, yeah, is this about like magic or something? I don't know how to answer that. Like, maybe. I mean, according to what I think the proper understanding of magic is, yes. But like, in that sense, everything we do is about magic. So, but that's the mindset I have, and that's how I philosophically look at the world, right? Through that lens of like, reality operates according to these principles. And so we see them play out in the world around us, in the situations, in how they're exploited to benefit what means, you know. These are all down to laws of nature. It's interesting that the conversation has gone to past lives. Okay. So you have something unresolved from a past life. And I assume then it's playing out in this life in ways for you that are challenging. I definitely, too, have some unresolved baggage from past lives. Hopefully I wasn't straight in my past life. Okay. So, in terms of that, what I think about past lives, I'm just going to say this as a disclaimer. I have no evidence, right, to support this perspective, but it's intuitively brought upon my own experiences with experimenting with this concept through meditation and through astral travel. So I have, and also with meeting certain people as well. I definitely have met a number of people who I have some kind of past life connection with. And I have come across them in some of the most mundane ways. It is incredible. Like, where you're just like, what are we doing here? So, well, that's what I assume it is. It could be something else, but that's what it intuitively feels like, you know, like, oh, I know you. I feel like we know each other. Very strange. So, anyway, I want to move on from that. It's not really relevant to this, but I think the process of exploring past lives is very helpful in terms of seeing our stories. What a past life experience, I think, does more than anything is that it shows us a story of the lifeline that we're living. It shows us ourselves in a completely different way when we do these regressions, right? So whether this experience is authentic to like your assigned spirit and you definitely went right, you definitely went through these experiences. I can't definitively say that, but what I can say is that the process does help facilitate a deeper understanding of ourselves. And whatever we do to do that is doing the work of enlightenment. Next card we got is the Two of Wands, which is saying that we're at the crossroads. Crossroads. That's personally significant to me in a way. So you're at a crossroads. You could go left, you could go right. You could also choose not to do something and let others, you know, kind of decide and just kind of be an observer of reality, which has a place. I don't know. And it's interesting I just said left or right because, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that what is presented as left and right in the US has absolutely nothing to do with what these things mean. But that's what happens when things consolidate like this, when power, money, status, and access to having a legitimate sanctioned voice, right, or respected voice is allowed to occur, you know. I'm glad that the moons are all here. You don't have to go to bed. You're an adult. You can go to bed whenever you want. But anyhow, although I don't want to encourage not going to bed when you need to, but I often have trouble sleeping on a full moon night, so. Okay. So I was talking about the crossroads. Going left or right. Or maybe we have a center right and a far right party in America. Yeah, precisely. I mean, it's the same same bird, right? That's the concept. It's the same bird. The wings are of the same bird, right? What is that bird doing? Is it going to eat us? Is it going to fly us into disaster? Most certainly. I can see a helicopter from my window. Very close, probably a few blocks away. I'm so tired of them. It's so hard to sleep with them going. Whoa, we don't have, I mean, like, you live in Minneapolis. How are you doing? I also just want to say too, like, while I support the protests that are happening in honor of George Floyd, and also just in honor of, I think people have been brought out for, I think, quite a few reasons. And I've also seen like a lot of, we brought up Breonna Taylor earlier today in the live. And I wanted to say that I have seen a lot, at least in this city, of like tributes to her around the place. So definitely people are really looking into this. I think that is going to become a lot more prominent because of the focus that we've been giving to it, and that others have too. So definitely continue that work. I think people have been brought out because like the pressure's been building for a very long time. And I think some people have been brought out just because they love a bit of chaos too. I will be honest about that. Like, I see that around the place. Definitely, you know, we also have to be clear that not everybody that's coming out to protest is there for the same reasons. And we just need to be aware that there is a great deal of chaos right now, you know. There's a great deal of chaos in terms of what's happening, but there's also a great deal of cool things that are happening too. So anyway, I'm going to someone said Terry may be able to assist. So I haven't really done past life regression work for anyone. I've done it on myself. So in terms of facilitating that kind of thing for someone, I mean, I don't know as such. I've not really led many people on guided meditations. So I don't know. But I mean, I also can do past life readings, so via tarot. So if you want to know like what the deal is with whatever you feel that you're carrying from a past life, like that can definitely something I could help you with. And see what any flashes I get. But in terms of having like your own experience, like guiding you through that, I don't know if I'm really capable of facilitating that at this point. So just say that. Somebody asked me a question, so I wanted to read it. Oh. Three blocks away from where George Floyd was murdered. That's, oof. I'm glad that you're safe. How do y'all feel about the demand for white women to stand ground at the front lines? I'm back and forth about it. I don't really know. I wasn't aware of this. I suppose I have mixed feelings about it. You know, I get why people, I get why that would be called for in certain circumstances. But I also wonder, like, do people think that the police don't violate white women as, well? And yeah, I haven't really heard about this, so I don't really have an informed opinion other than, like, there are circumstances where, yes, I think that if you are in, like, let's say, it doesn't matter whatever kind of action you're doing, okay? Just like strategically speaking, that doesn't matter as much as the fact that regardless of what you're doing, you want to be conscious about who in your group that you're doing an action with is most vulnerable, okay? So maybe the disabled, obviously. In the case of, like, police violence, we have to be clear, not only are people of color and black people specifically far more likely to be arrested and targeted by police just daily in terms of being stopped, in terms of being questioned, in terms of just being harassed, monitored in those ways. You need to be conscious of the fact that, like, okay, your whiteness is going to afford you some privilege if you're engaging in these things. So I guess what I would say is, I think that's up to individual women who are white to decide what they want to do if they think that is best. I don't think you can, in these circumstances, demand that anyone do that. But I think it could be argued that this might be an important tactic to employ. But yeah, it is curious that it's like white women specifically. And it's like, one thing though, I think maybe they're like wanting to rely on like this. I think part of it kind of conjures up for me kind of the like protect white womanhood nonsense that like they think that if you put white women at the front, then the police will be less violent. But you know what happens when they're leading things, all right? You need to be really careful, I guess, just about like this kind of stuff. And try to figure out what place you're coming from and just determine, I think, where is most appropriate for you to plug in as an activist. So I have a lot of feelings about it. I have various feelings about it, but I think that it could be argued to be a good tactic. And I understand the reasons for why, but I also think that, there might be a little bit too much belief in these things, given the rate of just violence that police do commit against white people generally and white women specifically. But as I said earlier, those things don't get reported because we need to maintain the illusion in the white public's mind that, they don't have common cause with black people, that there's like a difference, and, it helps to keep racist people from seeing their similar class interests. You understand? This is played up. And so, like, I don't know. The information is presented this way. That means that I'm talking about this thing. I want to be clear that statistically speaking, blacks are killed at an overwhelmingly larger number in the U.S. Than whites by police. But still, a lot of people getting killed by cops in this country is my point. And, it might be good for people to stop like having those illusions that they're protected via their whiteness. Like, yes, in many circumstances, but not always. Good night, moon. Can't really see the moon tonight. Not yet, anyway. It started to get cloudy. Anyway, that was kind of heavy. I want to give a shout out to, I forgot to say at the beginning of this video, I want to give a shout out to Griselda Pacheco, who is my friend and also has been on doing a lot of videos recently, but also bringing them to YouTube. So I would recommend checking out her channel. Something just reminded me of her, or something she had said. I've lost it, but I remembered, right? I remembered to give her a shout out. So yeah, I'd like you to go check out her work specifically. CHRISELDA, Griselda, PACHECO. Maybe the martyr reference, that might be bringing up some of it. She talks about like a lot of the things that are happening archetypically and breaks them down in ways so that you can understand the spiritual realities that are underpinning what is happening, all right? And what is leading up to this point, what has led us up to this point, and how these energies work. She does a lot of like stuff about that, but specifically martyrdom. Maybe it was something else, but we could talk about that a little bit. Martyrdom. Oh, we want to be careful about the difference between being a martyr and being someone that helps, okay? We can help others without martyring ourselves to them. Because that's the shadow side of this like Sagittarian moon energy, right? It is the martyr complex that can come in when you're consistently running to save others. Running, right? Sagittarius, the horse, running. You will not fix your problems by fixing someone else's. You can't fix someone else's if you cannot fix your own. Knowing when and what to give right now is important, and being honest with ourselves about that. Most people are running their entire lives. It isn't until you like stop and recognize that you've been here before in this situation in a different context that you realize that you've been running. So this is about, I think, like, there's the aspect that is to explore, right? Explore the universe, explore the world. And now I just realized I want to take down this deck instead. That's right. When I was thinking about going live yesterday for the full moon, I thought I wanted to use my Voyager Tarot. And so I do. Because, I don't know. This one is about, this deck really encapsulates, I think, that polarity between Gemini and Sagittarius that I was talking about earlier. It blends the philosophical with the scientific. It brings them into harmony. That is incredible. Okay, let's see. Obviously there. So, Child of Worlds, player. 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 Earlier I was talking about coming into your role in the world today. You have a part to play here, right? If you've been spared from this pandemic, if your life is still here, right? I do feel that there's a great culling happening. All right? It means you have work to do. This is your chance to do that work in the world. So this is about taking the steps forward to do that. And you aren't going to know what it is you need to do. But if you look at it through a child's eyes, you can do a lot more than you thought you could. This is about idealism as well. Going further because you are being asked. Moving forward, right? Because you have a part to play, obviously, but because you're ready. You're asked to build the world, right? I said build, right? We have to build. Taking those first steps and having a dream in mind as you take those steps is so important. But it's about combining dream with action. Taking the mental and making it physical for the first time. The second card is the Hanged Man. Hanged Man. Look at that. Gorgeous. Hanged Man. It's the wisdom of Odin. Enlightenment comes often when we've been forcibly removed from things. And I think that the quarantining has been this moment, right, where we've all been held back. We've all been kind of put into suspension. This time you better recognize yourself in this time and come to the truth of yourself, shadow and light, all right? You cannot shine your light if you do not know your shadow and where to cast it. Where are you shining your light and where are you casting your shadows? This card, the Lovers, wonderful. Gemini energy. The Lovers. I've been talking a lot about the unification of opposites. I talked about this card in my Patreon, actually, for my new moon. So this message has come back. Have you reconciled dark and light within yourself? Black and white within yourself? Let's talk about that. as we cannot deny the magical undertones of speaking about race in America as white and black. We still use these terms, okay? There is a spell being cast when we say these words. When I was in 4th grade, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. It was the first political, heavily political work I read in my life. And it was it blew my fucking mind, right? One of the aspects that I remembered was reading about him in prison and how he read the dictionary. And he talked about the differences between what those terms mean. Now, I've talked about that on this channel before. It's always resonated with me. But isn't it curious that we're still using those terms? And where are we casting shadows? And where are we casting light? These are things to consider. And how do we create the alchemical marriage within ourselves? I think specifically collectively. How do we bring harmony amidst the chaos and the confusion and the opposites? And it's we have to look at what unites us. What unites us, what we are for, in order to facilitate the coming together, the reconciliation of the opposites. We have to collectively dream and build upon that. I don't appreciate the maligning of George Floyd's character happening in my comment section right now. Okay? I don't appreciate it. Yes. I don't know about what he's done. It's irrelevant to the context of, in this nation, year after year, we have seen this happen again and again. People fucking exploded this time. It's been building. This isn't one incident over one man. This is hundreds of fucking people. All right? This is the straw that broke the camel's back. We've been pissed for a while. It's not about his character, or whether he was a good man or a bad man. It doesn't matter. The police, the state, should not be killing people in this manner. Doesn't matter who they fucking are. Whether they're a good person, according to whoever, or not. Whether they have done something bad to even women who I care about, right? Doesn't matter. The state should not be killing these people. This isn't about him. It's never just been about him. If it was just one person, it's never about just one person. You don't have this about one dude. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I have been reprehensible in my behavior at times in my life, okay? Does not make the bad things that have happened to me okay, all right? Two wrongs does not make a right, and the state should not have the power and should not be killing people in this manner. Let's pull one more card. 3 of Wands, compassion. Compassion, okay? Compassion. It is so easy. All right? I want to tell a story here. Not really tell a story. I don't want to tell a story because what happened specifically doesn't matter, but I've come to understandings about things. When people are bad to us, or we perceive them being bad to us, when we feel hurt, damaged by the behavior and actions of others, I want you, in terms of extending forgiveness and in terms of moving on and not letting it keep you down, however that is, I want you to think of yourself on your worst day. I want you to think about all the things that that person reflects to you. You know, and maybe this is collectively, like maybe you hate a group of people. Maybe you have a prejudice about something like that. Okay. What is it that you don't like in the other? And what does it tell you about you? Can you have compassion even when people don't deserve any? It's a funny thing to say. Deserve is a funny thing to say, right? Compassion in this time for ourselves and others is the best currency. Is the best currency. Now, as women, we often get told to be compassionate. And sometimes having compassion and being compassionate means being compassionate to ourselves. And that is how we facilitate greater compassion in the world, because it is love metaphysics. Essentially, we do the thing ourselves. We change others by our actions and by our deeds. Compassion is a deed. It is easy to sneer and hate and criticize. It is much harder to put yourself in the shoes of someone who doesn't think like or look like you. But that's what we need to do, especially if we are to build. Okay, and with that, I think I should go. Okay, thank you for joining me. Thank you for setting me off a couple of times as well, and for listening to me go on about this stuff as I do. I wish you an excellent time of release and renewal with this full moon. And may we all come to deeper, greater understandings and look to what can be achieved in not just in terms of like changing the way we think in order to facilitate what changes need to take place. Okay, that's my takeaway message. You must change the way you think in order to facilitate the changes necessary currently. But please don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. All right, there are great gems and stones that are solid, that will build a good foundation for your thought processes in the future. So refine yourself, explore, and for God's sakes, learn something new. All right, take care, everybody. Farewell, and as always, keep it strange.